My name is Jackie. Welcome back to my garden. So today I was going to show you exactly what's in my garden because we are just at the beginning of summer here in Yandina in Queensland, and I've come to the realisation that summer is not my best growing season. I knew it was the case, but I thought there was more things that I could grow than I actually can. So my garden is kind of limping through at the moment. I'm not too sure exactly what I'm going to get out of some of the things that I've got here, but I've realised a couple of things, that being I need to focus more on getting some climate appropriate varieties. And so that's not just ones that will cope with summer, but actually winter is my main growing season. So finding varieties that we don't get terribly cold, but I have had trouble in the past growing things like tomatoes in winter because I felt like it got too cold. So, but then also be able to cope with it being actually quite warm. I've realised I need to kind of play around with the varieties that I use, and basically just change my main growing season. I've also found that I don't take enough records because I have had some success as far as tomatoes and stuff go, and I actually don't know when I planted those last year. I had a really good cherry tomato harvest, and so now I feel like I'm back to the drawing board. I'm kind of like, what do I grow and when do I grow it? So it's been a really good learning experience. It's a bit disheartening. There is some good stuff here. Don't get me wrong. You can see this pumpkin vine behind me is going great guns. It's actually the wrong time of year for it, is what I've come to realise. On a really hot day, this pumpkin vine doesn't love life, but it still has a pumpkin or two on it. So, so I'm just going to show you what I've got going on, and maybe you can learn from some of my mistakes if you're in the same or similar climate to me. Okay, let's have a look. So first of all, over the back here, I actually have some chili plants. So those chili plants, that fence actually gets really, really hot. And so I had some other things in there, didn't love the kind of reflective heat of that afternoon. And so I put those chili plants in just to see what they do, and they seem to be loving it. So that was a win. Now back to the pumpkin vine, because I have to show you my beautiful pumpkin. So this is my lovely pumpkin vine. I had some left over of this match, and so I put up an arbor. This great pumpkin. It's a very large pumpkin. So hopefully the pumpkin vine will hold on long enough for me to be able to harvest this pumpkin. So this is the start of my very sad stories in regards to tomatoes. These tomatoes are not enjoying life. And even these beans, I don't know what the story is with these beans. You'll see I do have some really successful beans, but these just have not done what they were supposed to do right from the start. So, not entirely sure. So these are always, I cut these off about here, and then they come back again, these spring onions, so they always do really well. I like to keep a few flowers. So these are calendula that I've got in here. I've still got some leeks left over. I'm trying the same again, just to cut them off at the base and grow them again. Another tomato plant that isn't doing very well. My basil, I'm really just leaving for the bees at this point. It's all gone to flower. The same with, I've got a couple of fennel that they were just too late. So they're just for the bees. Now zucchini. So here is my, I have a lot of male flowers with my 2 zucchini plants. What I was thinking was that I would do succession planting with my zucchini, because zucchini is something that my family, it's something that we buy every week. And so I was trying to, every couple of weeks I was planting some zucchini. It's gone to the point where it's just so hot. I'm not too sure whether there's zucchini and I don't produce anything other than male flowers. But I'll I'm going to keep persisting with it and see whether I actually get anything. I've got a couple of little seedlings coming through too to replace these ones when they start struggling too much. So we'll see how that works. So next we've got some kale. Here's the thing with kale: if you just this is what I've found in the past. If the pest finally moves on to something else and it's able to grow back, you just end up with this everlasting kale in your garden. So I know it looks really sad at the moment, but I actually think it's probably going to, this one isn't looking all that great either, but all that new growth is there. So I'm just letting the bugs do what they want with this, and then we will end up with something a bit better down the track. So here we've got some capsicums or bell peppers. They're looking pretty good. I'm actually not sure what they will do as far as the heat, but I'm just going to give them a go and see. Okay, so next we're actually going to move on to one of the successes, and that is my bean TP, but all of my success is from one plant. And that one plant was a volunteer. I've got another maybe 8 plants in here that I planted, and they are not doing nearly as well. But we have a snake bean that is loving life. This is all one plant. Just look at all of them. There's so many snake beans on it. So, and then over here we've got some of the actual ones I planted, which are just, I don't know, they're just it's the same as the ones I showed you before. They're just they're starting to come on now, but I don't know, it's already been taken over by the snake bean. So, not too sure what they're going to do, but they've taken a very long time to get going, and I'm not too sure whether they're actually going to produce it. I do keep some of spring onions in a pot, and I keep a bay leaf in a pot just because I know that they suffer terribly. So I just haven't come up with the right spot to put that yet. So that's still in the pot. Okay, so next is one of the beans I had. So I came across, I went to the garden expo in New York, and one of the presentations I went to about I did tucking egg tomatoes, and they actually seem to be doing okay. So hopefully I'll actually get some tomatoes off these plants. I'll show you some further plants, some further tomatoes down the track where you'll see what I mean by getting something off them. But these are actually doing really well. I do have bags of all of the tomatoes, but I'm just going to take one off because some of them are really bright, so we're going to have a look at that. Oh no! I found one that's really ripe. Go in. Wow. I also picked these two, so I wasn't too sure how close they were. They're actually a little bit green, but they'll ripen on the kitchen bench. But that one is beautifully ripe, so that's very exciting. I'm actually getting some tomatoes. It is actually really dejecting when you spend all the time, you plant it from seed, you get it up to a seedling, you do all the things, to pot it up, and then you put it out in the garden, and then you see some tomatoes, and then it just gets too hot, and things start to go amiss. So I have been feeling a bit dejected, so getting some actual tomatoes is great. So I have quite a few of these Thai pink egg tomatoes, and as far as trellising, I'm just using whatever I have on hand. So I have all sorts of, I'm using bamboo and stuff that I bought previously or have been given, I wasn't sure how to use, is now coming in very helpful with these Thai pink egg tomatoes. Okay, so next we've got an eggplant that isn't loving life. This is my, second season with this eggplant. And it just, I don't know, it's looking a bit dejected. I might have to prune it back or something, but it's still got fruit on it. But it's just got these funny little fruits that aren't, I just know from previous experience that they're not going to do any good. So I just probably need to give it a bit of a prune back, and then I have these nasturtiums that are constantly trying to take over my garden bed, and I have to cut them back constantly. And here is the sad story of my tomatoes. They're looking really rough. I've already cut a number of them out. It's just, I think it's been just too hot. So here are some tomatoes actually ripening. Let's see what they're like. I don't know whether these are actually just, they're ripe or they're, oh, they might be. Yeah. Oh, no. No, I don't know. Something happened with that one, and that's, we might be able to use some of it. But that is a really big tomato. But yeah, it's got a soft spot there, so I don't know exactly what happened there, but anyway, at least we got some usable tomato out of it. And then over here is my spinach patch, which at the moment is loving life. Occasionally it gets kind of occasionally the plants will get this leathery kind of feel, and I don't know whether it's to do with not getting enough water, because sometimes it'll bounce back from it. One of the plants actually hasn't. I need to take it out. It's just producing these sorts of leaves, but it's like, it feels like leather almost. So, but I've still got this one who's going great guns. It's constantly got these great big leaves on it. So, and I've still got a couple of leek left over from winter, basically. I planted those. And so these are more of the tomatoes that aren't, well, they're not doing terribly, I don't suppose. So basically, that's what I have going on in my garden at the moment. As I say, it is a little bit dejecting when you spend a lot of time getting plants from a seed up to putting them into your garden, and then realise that you've probably got the wrong variety, or it's the wrong time of year, or or something completely out of your control has happened maybe. But we will persist. I am learning that, yeah, as I said before, summer is just not our growing season. Summer should be the rest time, and it should also be probably the rest time for the humans, because it is really unpleasant in the garden, aside from maybe a couple of hours in the morning and an hour or so in the evening. So it probably should be the rest time. So I will know for next year. I will take better records so that I know when things grow really well, and but I will be planting more. I'll be sowing more seeds, which will be in another video. But summer should really be the time when I maintain things, or get new beds built, or rejig the garden, as opposed to it being a heavily productive time of year, is what I've come to realise. So, but there's still things going on here, which is fabulous. So thank you for coming and having a look at my garden today. If your garden is going through something similar to mine, where you're learning as opposed to producing, let's just learn together and do something better next time. Okay, thanks for hanging out with me today. See you soon.